Versa best company.
Versa Business System.
It's a better
Versa Business System.
Versa Business System.
Welcome to the Versa Business Tips Podcast. I'm your host, founder and CEO of Versa Business System, Shaheen Mazloom. We're here with Andrew Seidman today, founder and CEO of Digital Reach. How you doing today, brother? Thanks for joining us.
I'm doing great, Shaheen. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. So for those out there that don't know who you are, Andrew, tell us a little about yourself and what Digital Reach does.
Yeah, so I'm one of the co-founders of Digital Reach. We're a B2B digital marketing agency that works with all B2B companies, generally in the tech space, usually working with like well-funded startups, 50 million plus in funding or 50 million in revenue, all the way up to like massive enterprises with like global presence and that kind of thing.
Awesome.
And we started off doing paid media, like advertising. And then over time learned that like to make a successful ad program run, you got to do all the rest of the stuff. So we build websites, we manage data systems like CRMs and marketing automation tools, and we design brand strategy and content strategy.
Okay. Awesome, man. So, you brought up a great point. Marketing is only as good as all your other tools, right? Like you've got to have that online presence. You got to have the sales SOPs. You got to, marketing by itself doesn't just do the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the most common thing we get is folks will come to us and they'll be like, "Hey, here's money. We want you to just turn it into more money,
Right.
ads or primarily ads, but also SEO or these kind of
Right.
things too." And that will work if you're already like right on top of the market. If
Right.
your product is great, sure. Like spend money, you'll get
Yeah.
money back for sure.
If business
But
was that easy, everybody would.
yeah, exactly. For most folks, they're not right on top of product market fit. They're competing. They're in like a complicated dynamic. And so usually you got to like fix the entire system holistically and not just like focus on the last, like the very end stage, which is like pumping into the machine.
Yep, definitely, man. So, marketing has obviously changed a lot. The way people, respond to marketing, how they want to be marketed to, all those different things has changed a lot. I mean, even just since COVID, right? What are some recent trends that you're seeing in marketing in the way that, that B2B companies need to start paying more attention to when it comes to their marketing?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, and obviously, like, I'm sure I'm like the 10,000th person to say this, is just the effect of AI on everything. So, like, the biggest thing the easiest way to visualize this is just go like type in some words into Google, and you'll see that for a lot of searches, the above the fold on your laptop or on your screen, like 2/3 of it is now the 0-click answer. So it's just like the LLMs answering your question. It's a much better user experience for you. Like you get your
Right.
info away. But if you imagine before that happened, everyone, advertisers, marketers were competing for all of that space. Like those are all links that you could drive traffic to your website. Someone could buy your product.
Yeah.
Now all that space has shrunk down. I think in the most recent one I did, there was one link above the fold.
Wow.
And so it's like everyone is now competing for that one link instead of
Yeah.
that 5 links. And so we've seen prices go up like 25% as folks try to basically compete for those spots. So that's a major change. And then the other thing to think about with that is like, okay, well, if that traffic isn't going like to Google and then to your website, where is it going?
Right.
And a lot of the time it's like, okay, well, there's the 0-click response from the LLM, but then there's these like citations on the side. And those citations are like going to take you to read more about this. And they almost always go to social media.
Right.
So I think 40% of those citations go to Reddit.
Wow.
Something like that. And so it's like, oh, as an advertiser, as a marketer, it's like, well, the Google presence now has changed a lot. It's a lot harder, more competitive, less space.
Right.
But maybe there's like some new greenfield territory over here on Reddit, on Quora, on some of these other
Right.
places to demonstrate your value. So we're helping our clients kind of like find the right balance there.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So, you bring up a great point. So when people are searching for things now, right, it's not just your typical Google search and you got a bunch of links and you scroll through and click what you want, right? Now you're reading the response from Gemini or ChatGPT or whatever you're using to search. Is there, I mean, just like there's SEO for Google, is there now like AI SEO? Like, how does that stuff work? Where do people need to start going to start trending at the top of, a Chat GPT search for, say, business funding or whatever it may be?
Yeah, it's a great question. There's a few different acronyms for it that I don't think like the market has totally decided what they want to call it yet. Like some of it, you hear AEO, the most common, which is like the answer engine optimization. You hear GAO or GEO sometimes. GAO. I always say AEO, but I think it's an interesting question. It's clear that social media matters a lot.
Right.
And so I think things like review sites, like if you're running a business, like getting your customers to post reviews on G2, Capterra, Google, like wherever they might be able to post a review, like those are huge sources for LLMs. And then places like Reddit, where we know they draw a lot of citations, like Reddit or Quora, like, do you have a presence? Like if there's often it's like a really specific question somebody has, like, how do I solve this really niche problem? Do you have an answer? Is that answer in social media? Is it public? Are you part of the conversation?
Right.
So I think there's
really
some
think
ideas
about that. That's cool. So Reddit, I understand Reddit as a place where people go to post questions about things, and then other people give their information or their response, right? So are you suggesting that companies need to start getting involved in those conversations that has to do with their business, or posting more questions?
More like, I mean, some of both, but really more like being the people with the answers.
Right.
So I'll give you a good example. Like, I got married last summer.
Okay.
Right?
Same, dude. I summer before.
Nice. So I got married outside of Seattle, and I was looking for like a band. I wanted to have a band. So I was like looking up, what's the best wedding band in Seattle? A ton of websites, all kind of unclear. The really good source of information was Reddit. Like you go to Reddit and you see like a thread of people talking about their bands that they had, and like people are coming in there, and some people say, like I kept seeing the same name come up over and over again, and I was like, all right, this band like definitely really good. Like a lot of people like it. So you can imagine the exact same thing, except instead of searching for, I'll just use my own company for example. Instead of searching for like best wedding band in Seattle, like what's the best digital marketing agency for a B2B tech company?
Right.
It's like, well, that's a thread in Reddit somewhere. Like someone's asking that question, and people are coming in and talking about it. So like, there's nothing stopping me from coming in and saying,
exactly,
yeah, this is my philosophy about how I solved that problem. So I think there's a lot of value there for basically every business.
Yeah, that's a great. I never thought about it, dude. That's why I love doing these podcasts, man. Every single podcast, I find some nugget that just makes a huge difference in my company.
Dude, learning's amazing.
Dude,
it is, man.
Honestly,
that's why I love these conversations.
Yeah, 100%, man. So, we touched on AI. Obviously, AI. There's a lot of great tools out there, but AI really is only as good as the person that's using those tools, right? What do you think are some of the most important marketing tools out there right now, other than your standard, Chat GPT for creating like an email marketing campaign or something like that? Are there any new tools that you're seeing, a good trend for B2B?
Yeah, man. The rate that there are new tools hitting the market is crazy.
It's insane.
Like, I did a webinar in January at the beginning of this year where I like personally demoed like 45 tools. And I am still hearing like every week, people are like, oh, you haven't checked out Influ 2 yet? And it's like, I've never heard of that tool before, but it's like, you check out their website and it looks super legit. And there's like a ton of stuff. So I think the short answer is, there's a ton of tools. I think the ones that have stuck out to me the most, like the ones that are most interesting to me, there is one tool for data called Clay. What Clay does, it does a couple things that are pretty cool, and there's one thing that's like completely mind-blowing. So like the pretty cool stuff is like, okay, like historically a lot of people who are selling are going to use a tool like Zoom Info, or Clearbit or something like that to go
such a rip-off.
data. So what the cool thing they did, that Clay did, is they basically bought licenses to every tool that has data,
Okay.
and they let you rank them, and it will just waterfall it. So it'll be like, okay, Zoom Info doesn't have any recent info here. We're going to check this other site. Okay, we're going to check this other site, and they give you like the most up to date info across all the sites.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool for a seller.
Definitely.
The thing that is crazy is they can then take a table of information. I'm a data guy, so like I'll try to make this not super nerdy, but like a table of information. So like the most common ones, like you have a list of accounts you might want to sell into. And so you've got just the names of the accounts. Maybe you got their website too. I don't know, something like that. You can add a column to that data with whatever you want the LLM or the AI tool to tell you. So I might have 1,000 accounts.
Right.
And I can say, tell me the best coffee shop within walking distance of the headquarters of these accounts. And it will automatically fill in all 1,000 coffee shops, because it'll just go through an LLM. It's going to say like, oh, I figure out the headquarters was here, and like the highest ones are this one. I think this is the best one, whatever. So now, instead of sending a kind of shitty email that's like as a seller, for example, that's like, hey, would love to get coffee, or especially worse, like, oh, I noticed that the headquarters is at 1436.
Right.
Instead, you're like, hey, I thought we might meet up for coffee at Rocco's.
Right.
Now they're like, I go to Rocco's every morning because that's like the coffee shop near my office.
Right.
And it's very natural. It's like high context.
Yeah.
So imagine like literally anything you can think of. If you're like, I want to know for like a list of people, you might be like, I want to know the most recent time they said something about my product on LinkedIn.
Right.
And it's like, okay, cool. Here's a list of all the posts, all the people that made those posts. Then you might say, okay, I want to take that list of people who have mentioned something about my product or my product area on LinkedIn, and I want to make them into an advertising audience, and I want to upload that to LinkedIn, Reddit, Google, whatever. They package it for you. You can get it ready to upload. So like the ability to target, the ability to have context, like Clay, is kind of insanely powerful.
That's amazing, man. And is it like price comparable to like a Zoom Info or Sales Intel, or is it just like insane?
The way they get you is the credits.
Right.
So every time that you ask it to fill in a row of data on a sheet, it uses a credit.
Right.
And so in this sense, if you are really precise, if you're like, okay, I've got like a few hundred accounts or maybe 1,000 people that I want to go pursue, not that expensive, actually like much cheaper than Zoom Info and those other folks. But the way they get you is you get addicted to it, where you're like, ooh, I want to add this column and I want to add this column and I got these questions. And like, what if I looked at 2,000 accounts instead of 1,000 accounts? And then suddenly,
so they're not charging you like some crazy like 35 grand a quarter like Zoom Info does for their
no, not at all. They have a good business model. They're
That's
much
awesome,
lower
man.
barrier to entry, but then like they get you when you lean into it. But like at that point, you're happy with it.
That's amazing, man. Dude, very cool. So, obviously data is king, right? If you can get the right data, that's half the battle right there. It's funny. The first time I got Zoom Info, I got Warren Buffett's cell phone number, and I've been playing phone tag with Warren Buffett for about 8 months now. And yeah, man, it was funny. I was walking out the door one day with my wife, and he called me, and I started talking to him, and she's like, "Is that Warren Buffett?" I'm like, "Yep," like sure is. But it's just cool, man, what you can do with data. Like you can literally get anybody's contact information, and when I realized that, I think like my third year in business, I'm like, why am I not reaching out to Target and FedEx and, all these huge companies?
I mean, step one is getting the info, but step two is they got to answer the phone, right? Like they got to be wanting to talk to you. And I think that's a lot of what we do, honestly, is like trying to put those people in a position to be open to talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, and people think about like, what's the role of marketing? A lot of it is just making it so that
making
first
them aware of you.
Yeah, exactly. That first impression is friendly. They're like, oh yeah, I've heard like you guys are qualified. I've heard of you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what is your take on like the streaming TV commercials, right? Like your Vibe or what's the other one? But like we just started playing around with that, and I haven't really seen any results yet. I mean, it's been a few weeks, but are people doing well with that now that you can actually target, the commercials to your customer type?
Yeah, man, I would just say it depends on what the answer to doing well means.
Right. Okay.
A lot of folks need results now.
Yeah, yeah.
And that means they need buyers. They need people
Right.
who are in the market trying to buy something.
Yeah.
And like that type of TV advertising isn't a great medium for
Right.
trying to get someone who's ready to buy. Like they
100%.
weren't like out there looking for this stuff.
No,
You
they're
just
watching a TV show and they
in their
just yeah,
documentary episode or whatever, you know?
yeah,
And
definitely.
so I think so people often have like a bad alignment of what their goals are and
Yeah.
what tools they're using to get those goals.
Yeah, very good
Folks
point.
that be like, I need SEO help because I need opportunities tomorrow.
Right.
It's like, you're not going to get that.
You're not going to get there with SEO, right?
You can use emails, you can use cold calls, you can use ads, and that's about it to go that fast. So I think for folks who are looking for buyers, like search makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like being on Google, being on places where like people are looking for like specific answers to their questions.
Definitely.
But if you have a longer view,
right?
If you're like, okay, I think I'm gonna need to nurture a funnel of people who are going to be ready to buy for my stuff in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I need to build my brand as a qualified, attractive brand so that once somebody's problem goes from being a little bit annoying to actually pretty serious, they're like, oh, okay, I actually know who solves that problem already. Like, or even more accurately, like they go to search for their problem. They've forgotten all about your brand. Then they see your brand show up on the search and they're like, oh, okay, I remember them. They seem good.
Yeah.
And so if you're willing to play that game, then like we call it like CTV, is can be super powerful.
Yeah.
Like you get they're super cheap impressions. They're really engaging. Like if you have good video content, like you can really like make a statement.
Right.
But you just can't expect it to turn into business tomorrow.
100%.
Like,
yeah. Like our idea behind it was like for like some of our larger clients that were cold emailing, right? Like let's show them the commercial a few times before we send them an email. So that way they've at least seen our logo, they've heard the name, something. And so far it's actually given us more responses than what we used to get, in a cold email. So, I mean, it could be working, but, yeah, I mean, there's just some really cool stuff out there now that, you would have never thought of before that makes things a lot cheaper. Right.
I mean, the other problem with this thing is like that there's another question that B2B struggles a lot with, which is like, how do you, like they call it data attribution, but like, how do you show that this is working? Well, like maybe you ran these CTV ads and maybe you also updated your emails with some new email stuff. And then you saw your emails got opened twice as often.
Right.
Is that
was it the subject line? Was it
exactly.
Yeah.
Before, like, how do you tie all those dots together? It's like pretty hard challenge.
Yeah. Without asking every person, hey man, so was it the subject line or was it the fact that you saw my commercial?
And they're not even a reliable narrator, man. They're not even a reliable narrator. They've forgotten all about the videos that they saw, but I planted in their brains. So yeah, it's tough to say.
Yeah, 100%, man. So you guys focus mostly on tech software companies, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, I think some mix of like mostly tech software, some tech hardware, some manufacturing, but yeah, mostly tech software.
I gotcha. And are you seeing any new trends as far as software types? Is everything just focused towards AI, or are there some other technologies that are really coming out there besides your self-driving cars and stuff like that?
Yeah, in our world, we have really kind of focused in on 3 what we feel like are really strong growth niches. One of them is AI. So we have a number of like companies in our portfolio who are AI companies. One of them just raised like 110 million or something crazy. And so there's a lot of growth obviously happening over there.
Right.
Another section of this that's like or a couple sections that are sort of related to that. One of them that we see a lot of traction in is security. So like AI enables a lot of additional advanced attackers.
Right.
And also like a ton more of your information is just online in general.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely another growth area that we're working with some pretty amazing companies in like the internet security space.
Right.
And then the last one would be customer experience, where a lot of stuff that used to be super manual about how you like help your customers answer their questions. Like think about even like a call center, like you call someone, horrible experience, right? Everyone knows that like a call center, you're like, they have to talk through a bunch of stuff.
Right.
Press 1 for English. It's like, you've literally been speaking English this whole time. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not super good at this stuff yet, but
Right.
a lot of the tools are changing. So like it's becoming super AI focused, and it's going to be a world where like they are really fast and knowledgeable at getting you answers to the questions you have.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of the three areas we're focused in on.
Right.
But I do think that just tech is still, powerful and getting more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's funny you mentioned security, and I think a lot of that is to do with because of the AI tools that are out there. We need more security to kind of combat the negative parts of what AI brings, right? And
For
it
sure.
reminds me of that saying, like the guy who sold the shovels during the gold rush was the guy that
For sure. For
made
sure.
made the most, right?
For sure.
Um, Now, you've got a lot of businesses out there. They know they've got to use AI. They're not using it now. What technology, when it comes to marketing specific, right? What is a good starting point, right? Besides your chat GPT, I think now most business owners have at least dabbled with chat GPT. If they haven't, they're not planning on staying around much longer anyway. But is there something specific that you think that people should really start focusing on when it comes to their marketing in AI?
I mean, I'm going to give you the most like boomer, boring answer possible
That's
here.
fine.
I think that I'll make it better than what I was going to say. Technology is helpful for scaling stuff. So when you have product market fit or you have a solution, but it's difficult to do it over and over again or something like that,
Right.
like technology is good at like taking what you know will work and like making it work for a ton of people all at once. Most folks, their problem is not their ability to use tech to scale it. Like AI tools are helpful for this, but they're like, that's not usually where the problem is.
Right.
The problem is usually living where it's like you actually don't really know what your customers want. And what you're selling is like not that interesting to them. Or what the way you're talking about it isn't quite the way they talk about it. We see a lot of folks like they talk about their products because they know about their products and they assume everyone thinks about it the way they think about it.
Right.
And so we often like will go to someone's website and be like, has any of your customers ever used those words before? Or is this just
Right.
like you guys talk about it?
Right.
And so I think for most folks, I would say, hey, if you want to like figure out how to get your marketing game in good shape, honestly, literal best thing you can go do is talk to like as many customers as you possibly can and hear how they talk about their problems.
Right.
And then it's a waterfall. So you like figure out how they talk about it. Then you figure out how you're going to talk about it based on that. And then you put that information onto the internet on a website or wherever you're going to put it. And then once you're like, wow, this really resonates. We know where we're at. Our product works. Like it's fit with this stuff. Then you use tech to blast that stuff out. So then you're using
Right.
tools to make all kinds of improved experiences and spread the word. But like most of the problem is usually not in the like, can we get the word out? It's usually like
How you're
the
getting
word,
it.
yeah, the words, the message we're sending is like not very interesting.
Yeah. The messaging itself.
Not to be a hater about this, like
No,
very
it's
old
a very,
school, like
very. I mean, it's a very good point. I think a lot of it's. I tell my sales reps this all the time. I'm like, you got to remember, there's certain words that we use when we're talking about our products, right, in house. You're not going to use those same words when you're talking to a customer, right?
yeah, like
Like,
the customer's going to talk about it the way that they think about it, right? Like, and so you
exactly.
got to be aligned with them. You got to
Yep.
meet them where they're at.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. No, you bring up a great point. The messaging is probably the most important part, if not the whole thing when it comes to marketing, right? It's the message, and getting it out is easy, right? There's so many tools to get your message out, but what is
Yep.
that message saying, and is it going to be um, attractive and understood by your potential buyers?
That's why I'm not that worried about the AI taking my job yet, man. Like,
Right.
I think those kinds of questions, like, what are your values as a product, as a company? Like, how do you express yourself to your customers? Like, those are really, really hard, very human questions.
Yeah.
And I think most folks would benefit from starting there. Like, I get a lot of like inbound requests from people from like CEOs and CMOs being like, what tool do I do to fix this thing? And it's usually
Right.
like, it's not the tool.
Right.
Like tools are nice,
Start
but it's not.
here.
Yeah, exactly. So start
Yeah,
at the beginning.
that's crazy. So, that's funny. I'm gonna have to look at my website, and now you got me thinking, like, what's on there? How does it? That's too funny. But it's, I mean, it is true, right? who cares if everybody in your industry knows what you're talking about, right? It's the people that you're trying to get to buy your stuff that needs to know what it
Yeah,
means and what it's saying, right?
for sure.
Yeah. Um, so we've talked about, obviously AI, the different trends you're seeing in technology. What are some old school marketing techniques that you think are just never they're tried and true, they're never going to die no matter what happens with technology?
Yeah, I mean that first one's the biggest one. Like words, the bougie words for it is the voice of the consumer. Basically, like how do your audience actually talk about this stuff?
Right.
Like I often think about like marketing as like thinking about a like imagine a dartboard, and the problem with the dartboard in the world of marketing is that the dartboard itself is moving.
Right.
So like even while you might think you're like, well, I'm right over the bullseye, like if some technology gets developed, some market shift happens, whatever, and like suddenly it's moved away from you. And so your job is kind of trying to stay over top of the bullseye.
Right.
So to do that, you need to be like in really good touch with your buyers. Like you need to kind of understand like where is the market moving. So
Yep.
I think that kind of like very old school, like market research, brand strategy, like thinking about like one of my favorite things actually, I listened to a podcast that had the guy who did Liquid Death, if you know the water brand.
No. Oh, yes, liquid. Yeah.
The cans, right?
Yeah, the
Okay.
cans. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he was
I thought
amazing.
for years that was an energy drink.
Yeah,
One of my
I thought it was
employees
the
used to
dumbest.
bring it every day, and I'm like, dude, that stuff's gonna kill you one day. He's like, what are you talking about? It's water. I'm like, what?
I thought this was like the dumbest thing of all time, and then it turned into a huge business.
Yeah.
And the reason why the founder is amazing, and he's talking about this thing. He's like, listen, man, I'd done branding before, and I wanted to try this challenge because I believe that your brand can never be your function. And if you're trying to market yourself on having some special functionality, like someone will copy you, and eventually your functionality will become a commodity.
Right.
Like it'll be the same for everyone. And he's like, so I figured like there's literally nothing that's more of a commodity than water. It is the commodity. There's
Right.
nothing different about this than Dasani, than
Right.
Evian, Fiji. It's all just fucking
Yeah,
water.
it's water.
So he's like, instead, you got to sell. Your brand has to be about your experience,
Yeah.
like your personality, like who are you? And so I think, and like they built a huge brand. They have fans because they're
crazy.
just hilarious. Like they like made a water brand about being funny, and as a result, people buy it because they just like the vibe.
Right.
I think a lot of people who want to like think about good marketing and brand strategy, like how do I get out there? It's like really these questions like what is your experience? How are you different for you?
Right.
Not different because of something your product can do.
Right.
Like there's going to be a competitor that's at least similar
Right.
to what your product can do.
Right.
The other thing I'll say is to think about this. This is like the best way I can think about it is like think about like an auto mechanic. I'm not a car guy. I don't know if you're a car guy or not,
Not
but
really.
like
I like cars, but like
yeah, I like them.
about
But if someone was like, okay, fix this car, I wouldn't know how to fix it.
Nah.
So what you do is you go to a mechanic and you're like, how much is a car? How to fix this car? And they say like, oh, that guy's like, it's like 3,000. And you're like, fuck, man, that's more than I thought. I don't know if I should be paying that. So you go to another car mechanic and that guy's like, okay, it's 4,500. And now you're like, okay, well, was the first guy a better deal, or is this first guy too cheap and he's going to screw it up, and the second guy's better? Are they both hustling me? Like, is the actual cost of this like $500?
Right.
And the truth is, unless you are yourself going to dedicate the time and energy to becoming an expert in cars, you'll never know.
Yep.
You'll never be able to answer. And the only way you make your choice is trust. One of those people is going to feel more trustworthy to you.
Yep.
And that's who you're going to go with. And so I think a lot of times marketers miss this idea that the whole point of this thing, your audience is never going to be a super hyper qualified buyer who's going to make this based on some super advanced functionality.
Yep.
Your audience is going to make this choice based on who they trust in the process. And that goes all the way from like, does your website look legit?
100%.
Or does it look like kind of shady?
Sketchy. Right.
The first sales call, is the salesperson super friendly and prepared and like understand questions? Or are they trying to sell you some shit as fast as possible?
Right.
Like the whole process is built around building trust.
100%.
And so I think like a lot of marketers would benefit from like taking a step back and being like, okay, I'm going to start with my values, and then I'm going to figure out how I'm going to build trust with these people who don't trust me yet.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk about selling it.
Love that.
So, yeah.
Love it, man. Love it. So, you guys have a lot of different things that you help tech companies with. What kind of tools do you have that that you can give to our guests and our listeners that can potentially help their company?
Yeah, I think the first thing is a free tool is our go-to-market maturity model, which is basically like a Google sheet that we put together that highlights what we call the 10 go-to-market essentials, starting from brand and content to digital experience, like your website, your creative,
Right.
to RevOps data systems like your CRM, marketing automation tools, how you track data, and then finally pipeline generation, which is your paid advertising, your SEO, AEO, email marketing, basically everything that like creates pipeline for you.
Right.
So we kind of set aside these 10 go-to-market essentials, and then we built a model that shows like what is a baseline level of expectation for that, what would good look like, what would better look like, and what is best in class. So you can literally take this model, look at it, and kind of place yourself on it,
Right.
figure it out. Now, there's a ton of info in it. So a lot of when we first start relationships with our customers, they pay us to like walk them through the model with them.
Right.
Basically, okay, we think you're about this mature here, about this mature here. And then we give them a list of recommendations, priorities, like this is what we think you should do. This is how much we think it'll cost you. And just try to like I said, like build trust
Right.
and show that we're partners and trying to help them get there.
Yeah. Very cool, man. And where do we find that tool?
For sure. I can give you a link to post if you want
Awesome.
for the tool itself.
Yeah,
and then all the information in general is available on our site, digitalreachagency.com,
Cool.
or you can hit me up on LinkedIn, Andrew Seidman, and always happy to chat.
Cool, man. I'll make sure to put the link in the description. Dude, Andrew, it's been great talking to you, man. I'm really excited to see where we're at in 2 years. Never mind, 10 years. People are like, where are we going to be at in 10 years? I'm probably going to be, driven around by a self-driving or flying car in 10 years, right?
No doubt, man. I'm sure.
Nuts,
I'm
man.
sure.
Thanks, brother. We'll definitely hop back on soon, and excited to see where things are at.
Appreciate you, Shaheen. Great
Thanks,
time,
brother.
man.